Hey friends, today we have with us Akshaya, a computer science graduate and my senior from NIT-Trichy. So we both were members of the Robotics and Machine Intelligence, which is the official robotics club of NIT-Trichy. So currently she's pursuing MS in robotics at the prestigious Carnegie Mellon University, which is one of the best universities in the world when it comes to the field of robotics. So, hey Aksha, first of all, a very happy new year, and thank you very much for taking out the time to join this podcast.
It's my pleasure.
Great. So, before we go ahead, first tell me, how's life in the US?
Life in the US is very exciting, and there is a lot of new things that you see over here, and obviously adulting in another scale.
Exactly. Nice. So, have you been visiting places there?
I have been trying to, at least in the first semester. There isn't much to see in Pittsburgh, but then there are quite a few must-see places, like inclines and some zoos, things like that. And obviously, initially, this is something everyone must do as it helps you meet a lot of new people.
Exactly, correct. So, are you staying in the city or the suburbs?
We are definitely not staying in the city. Where we're staying is like kind of a suburb setting.
Okay, cool. And how's the living cost there?
The living cost, if you are being like judicious and frugal, you can definitely manage in like around 800 per month, with like 400 to 500 being rent and 300 being your other living expenses.
Okay, 800 per month. Yeah, that's good, I guess. And like, do you cook for yourself to save some money?
Yes, yes. I'm staying with two other people, and my roommates are also pretty keen on cooking. So
Okay.
we kind of try to do like a meal prep, and that works.
Okay. Like, how many times per day do you cook? Like all the meal or?
Um, we try to cook. We cook definitely cook at least once a day.
Okay.
Usually 2 times a day.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So, when did you move to the US?
So I came here in August, in the beginning of August, and our semester was starting at the end of August, but we had our orientation like mid-August.
Okay.
Yeah.
August 2021, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, what was your experience like traveling during the pandemic?
It was weird because I mean everyone because it was a pandemic, we had a lot of confusion also going on with what was COVID test was required, what baggage allowance and things like that. And traveling also was a different experience with all the masks and gloves and all the other things we
Yeah.
were wearing. Um, but that part was actually fine compared to the whole visa application process and all the confusion that was around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, did you face any issues during visa or anything like that?
We did, because I actually initially planned to join in spring, that is Jan 2021. So I had applied for my visa in December 2020. And because when I applied, there were not quite a lot of people, I was able to get a slot, but it was like a hot selling thing. The minute slots were open, slots would go off. So it was very difficult to get them. And people who applied for visa like later in June or July, they found it even harder because more people were trying to apply then.
Okay, yeah. That's true. Yeah, I remember visa application centers were, like closed for most of the time. I mean, I kind of faced the same issue last year when I was applying for, when I had to apply for Canada. But yeah, I just couldn't get to apply for visa. That was my problem. So yeah, makes sense. So yeah, moving on, can you tell us a bit about the MS program in robotics that you're pursuing at CMU?
Yes, so this program is, because this is MS in robotics, it is a research-based program.
Okay.
Compared to the other program, if you would have heard, is MRST, which is MS in Robotics and System Dynamics, which is a little more towards like application, and it also has a business component to it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my program has 50% of the credits for research, and the other 50% of the credits has like 4 core courses, and then the remaining are electives that you can pick up.
Okay.
And because this has research 50%, you kind of do research through all the 4 semesters, and you take up only like 2 courses per semester. Some people do 3, but it's difficult to manage.
So a major part of your credits goes into the thesis or research, right? So thesis-based program, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. So yeah, what do you like so much about this program specifically?
About this program specifically, I really like the work that the different professors are doing, and the research is very interdisciplinary. For example, currently I am part of the biorobotics lab, and I'm working with Professor Hobby Josette. And the lab literally has projects ranging from snake robot to projects in building like a stair climbing robot and like an artificial lung or multi-agent pathfinding problems. So
sounds cool.
There is a lot of things going on, and all the professors are always like ready to talk about anything. So when I had to make a choice to decide on a university, I kind of tried to talk to professors, and when I saw this, I thought, okay, this will give me the flexibility that I want to explore a lot of things.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, most of the projects that you told, they sounded really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, how did you get into robotics?
Thinking back, I don't think it was like one event or something. It was like obviously like a domino chain of events. In school, I did do like a lot of science competitions and exhibitions and things like that. And so when I came to NIT-Trichy, which was actually a very new place for me because I did not study there in India. So when I came there and I saw the clubs, and I saw robotics club is there in campus, and that's what excited me a lot. I joined there, and I think through the projects that we did do in the club, things like Sangam, the intra-college fest, to interns and club projects, I really started knowing a lot about robotics and understanding the scope, about the different things you can do with it. And I believe that's what led me to take robotics as a career or choose it as my master's field.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great. So yeah, what's the job market like in the field of robotics after graduating from CMU?
The job market is actually, I think, pretty good for robotics. Like, I was a little worried about the pandemic and what that would affect this. But it has been really decent. Most people who are in our program end up going to companies like Uber, Amazon, and there are actually a lot of good robotic startups in this area because of CMU, UPIT, and UPenn. So you have a lot of new companies also, like Path Robotics. So it has really good scope. However, in my program, many people do tend to pursue PhD or higher studies because it's a thesis based. But there are people who do go for careers and with pretty promising salaries.
Nice. That sounds great. So yeah, it's been over 6 months since you joined the MS program at CMU. So how is it going so far?
It's I think it's going good. The first semester was kind of like a blur beyond a point because even though we do take only like 2 courses per semester, you kind of have like an assignment deadline every week, and the kind of assignments we have would probably qualify as mini projects
Okay.
in undergrad. And the course which I took in first semester, computer vision, for example, and we had to do motion. Our first assignments have like motion tracking, things like motion subtraction, 3D reconstruction, and these are like 1-2 week assignments, and we're learning
Okay.
a lot of new things.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. Okay. That's quite
it's
a
busy.
lot. Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah,
seems busy. True.
but because you're learning a lot and you kind of have office hours for people to help you out, and you can always like sit with your classmates and try to figure things out, it goes fine, but it does keep you on your toes.
Oh, okay. So, also, like, are these like group projects or individual assignments?
These assignments are individual, so they have
Oh,
like a strict you can't control V your code to
okay,
from other
okay.
people.
Mm-hmm.
But you can collaborate. Say you can't implement one particular feature, and you can just give them credits in your assignment.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That is also there. You can give other people credits.
Yeah, but you
Oh,
can mention
that's
that
a
this
unique thing.
particular,
Yeah,
yeah. I guess they figured you can't literally stop people from discussing and
copying.
collaborating, but you might as well make it ethical.
Yep, yep, correct, correct. So I believe that it is academically competitive, based on what you have been saying so far.
It is, but in a way, it is not like if you lose a few marks, you're going to lose the grade. In that way, I think is very nice. At least the courses
Okay.
I've taken so far. If you put in the work and if you do your assignments, you will get a good grade, irrespective of how others do. So that kind of takes that academical competitiveness a little notch down.
Okay, okay.
So
So it's
it's
more of a
more,
collaborative, trying to kind of promote learning over
yes,
maximizing your marks, I believe, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's great.
So
That's great, actually.
I think that prevents all the, it promotes sharing, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be selfish about your grades. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true, true, true. Unlike an NIT-Trichy. Okay. So yeah, like, that's great, learning about your program and everything. So can you, like, moving on to, the things that you did before actually getting into CMU. So can you briefly discuss the technical aspects of your profile, like projects, internships, papers, and all that?
Okay. So in terms of research, when I started doing, I interested in the fields of computer vision, multi-agent robotics, and like autonomous robots. So along these lines, my first internship was in IIT Bombay, and it was the field of modeling and control of crippled quadcopters. And
Nice.
I was interested in this because of autonomous systems. And this was an first introduction to me to research, where we actually had to do literature review and understand dynamics and all of that. Then I went on to intern at Ryerson University, Canada, as a part of the MITAX program.
Yeah.
And this was in the field of multi-agent systems, where
Nice.
we had to do exploration in an unknown environment using multiple agents. And this was more in algorithm building side of things. And we were also able to publish a paper on this called Searching for a Shoreline Problem.
Okay.
After these two things, I wanted to explore the computer vision part of things too. So when I did defer my admit, I got to spend time in IIT Delhi remotely
Okay.
through a project called Mavi, which was Mobile Assistant for Visually Impaired. And here my contribution was in face recognition, where we were trying to, again, build a state-of-the-art system and do data collection, curation, and adapt it to our purposes. So my experience has mostly been in algorithm side of things more than hardware, except one project, which was landmine detection and removal, which I did as in the club. Otherwise, my experience has been more towards algorithms, design testing.
Nice. Yeah, that's a lot of projects and a lot of great projects, I would say, not just projects. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they've been
great
fun.
stuff. Yeah, nice. So you had what, two papers, right, before you applied?
Yes, so I had one with the MyTax project, and I had one with my final year
Okay.
project, which
Okay.
was
Nice.
like in adaptive learning. And yeah.
Nice. So yeah, can you share your GRE, TOEFL, IELTS scores?
Yes, so my GRE score was 327,
That's nice.
with
Great.
167 being in quant, math, and 160 in the verbal English part. And my TOEFL score was 116.
Nice.
And I did not have to write IELTS, so I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I thought of writing my GRE again, but then I decided it's okay. It's about 325. That should do.
Yeah. 327 is actually a really good score, I would say.
Yeah, it sufficed.
Yeah. It did. So yeah, what was your CGPA at the time of applying?
So when I applied, that was 7 semesters. My CGPA was 9.5.
Nice.
Yeah, around 9.5. Yeah.
Yeah, approx 9.5. That's a great CGPA again. So yeah, since you graduated in 2020 and you received the offer letter while you were in your final year, so you did defer your admit, I believe, right?
Yes.
So what was your schedule like during this gap period? How did you spend it?
So during the gap period, I was initially thinking I should maybe try an internship in a corporate environment, because as I mentioned before, most of my interns were in an educational institute in a research side. So I did try to do an intern at a startup company for like a few months, where we worked on again, like face mask detection and some kind of like security systems. But then I decided that I saw that the quarantine seemed to be longer than a few months, and I decided this might be a good time to do some proper research. And that's when I took a job as a research assistant at IIT Delhi, and that's where I started working on Mavi. And because you were working from home and it was research, and there's no strict schedule as long as you're motivated and you kind of meet some deadlines and some weekly meetings. So it was pretty relaxed.
Nice. So you did work as a research assistant during this almost 1 year period, right?
Yes.
Yes, nice, great. So yeah, apart from the technical stuff, what extracurriculars did you have on your profile? I mean, before applying?
Extracurriculars. I was in the Toastmasters Club in campus, which is essentially like a club for communication and leadership, and it's a global organization. So I also served as a president in my final year in the club.
Nice.
And I was also part of the publicity team for our college cultural fest, September. Apart from that, I was also the chess captain for the girls team in campus.
Nice.
And and RMI, the robotics club, I was the workshop lead in my final year. So yeah, I guess pretty much.
Yeah, that's a handful. That's quite a lot of clubs, being involved in all that and still managing 9.5 CGPA in academics is really great.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think does the admission committee at CMU usually look for in the applicants?
You mean for my particular program, right?
Yeah, for robotics. Yeah.
So for MSR, because it's research based, I think they want to see whether you can actually finish the program, like whether you have enough motivation to do your research for 2 years and get a successful thesis. Over here, again, thesis doesn't mean you need to publish it in a big conference. It just needs to be something good and decent that you've done in 2 years. So they want to see if you have motivation. And CMU is not a program where your professor, that is your research advisor, gets picked before your admit. So it's not necessary that a professor has to say, I will take the person as a student before your admit. You can get admission and through your first semester kind of interact with different professors and figure out who you like. So in your application, more than, talking about which professor fits your profile, I think you just need to convey clearly why you want to do this and what you want to do once you come to like CMU.
Okay. So basically, the students get to pick the professor and not the other way around, right?
Yeah, mostly we do get to pick, but obviously there has to be vacancy in the lab and the professor has to be okay with advising you. The thing is over here, when you, like, for example, I am an RA now here, and most RAs are funded. And the funding kind of depends on the professor, whether he wants to completely fund you, give you stipend, and things like that. So when you're picking your professor, you kind of need to reach an agreement on what he's ready to give you and how much you're ready to commit to the lab, I guess.
Yeah, makes sense. Great. So basically, what applicants need to focus on is more on their purpose side. They don't have to really get a professor beforehand. So they have to focus more on the purpose as to their motivation should be clear. It should be well spoken in the SOP, right?
Right. And you kind of, like I said, because you're saying why you want to do it in CMU, if you can show that, this is what I've done so far and these are the skills I have, and I feel I need CMU because of this, that is what is required. There's one catch though. I mean, you don't have to like get a professor before you admit, but then if you are able to like catch the attention of a prof, you might be able to do an RA-ship from the first semester. Like some of my friends have done that. So that might save you some money, but it's not required.
Okay, nice. So, finally coming up to one of the most frequently asked questions. So what is the tuition fee for the MS in Robotics program at CMU?
So in total, it is, you get around, the estimate they give is like 47K plus your health insurance, some around 2K, plus your living expenses. They estimate it to be around like 72K. But then
for 2 years, right?
No, that's for like a year.
Oh, that's for a year. Okay.
Yeah. But you can save a lot in the living expenses and all that. So the tuition is like 42 per year.
42 per year. So, okay. So cool. 84, right? So for 2-year program.
Yes.
And the others, when you told 72, it's the estimate that they give considering the living cost and everything, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, even I have such a estimate from U of T. Yeah, it's outrageous. Yeah, I don't trust that. I know that.
I don't know. They probably expect us to stay in like a luxurious apartment and order from 5-star restaurants, but the tuition fee is obviously 42.
Yeah, 42. That's good. So, how are you financing your study?
So right now I was able to like self-finance the first semester. And after the first semester, I was really hoping to get an RA-ship. And thankfully, because I did get one, so that is funding my tuition and living expenses.
Oh, completely.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good thing. Yeah.
That's nice. Conditional though. I mean, depending on our performance in the lab. But if things go well, it should help me till the end of the program.
Nice. Yeah, good luck on that.
Thank you. Thanks.
What other MS programs did you apply to?
I applied to MS in Robotics in UPenn. I also applied to UMich, and I applied to TU Delft, and I applied to CS program in Georgia Tech, and a PhD in EC at MIT. And I also applied to 3 programs in UCSD, and I believe, yeah, those are the major ones. And
Nice.
USD.
Okay. U of T MSCSE, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And like, where all did you get admits, like, out of these?
I had an admit from UPenn, UCSD, the 3 programs in AI, Mech, and Robotics, and CMU, TU Delft. Then I also had an admit from USC. Did not mention that, but yeah.
Nice.
And
Nice.
WPI.
WPI, Worcester, right?
Yes.
Great. That's quite a lot of programs, I would say. Okay, I don't have the count. I can't give the count. I think it's close to 12 or something, right?
Yeah, I applied for like different programs. We consider around like 12, and I had like around 7 admits.
Nice. That's good. 7 out of 12. 7 out of 12. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, what advice would you give to those who want to pursue a career in robotics? Like how to build a profile and go about everything.
Okay, for people who want to build a career in robotics, I would say pick up as many skills as possible, and try to get your hands dirty, basically. When you're doing projects or even learning anything that you like, most of the tutorials that you might dive into kind of already have their source codes, and you can like git clone and run them. But try to get your hands dirty with the code and play around with it. Things like ROS, if you do get to work on it. If you're in CV, get comfortable with frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch. So essentially building a career in robotics, I would say, pick up skills and always be proactive to do projects whenever you get the chance. And because over here in any university, when you talk to a professor and they ask you what you've done so far, you give projects, but they ask you, what did you do in particular? And if it is really nice if you can, tell them that this is what I did on my own, and that is what will impress them.
Nice. So having more skills, as in getting hands dirty into multiple interdisciplinary areas, is the key. And apart from that, as you said, that obviously it shouldn't be just like, you go through a tutorial and copy the code and try and run it. And if it works, then I've made it. It shouldn't be like that, but instead play around with it and understand. Understand at the code level how exactly it's working. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, even I do agree with that. Yeah, and apart from these, do you recommend courses or something specifically? Any resource as such?
Courses, it depends. Like I try to do some courses on EDX and Coursera, and especially I think for robotics, there are a few good MicroMasters offered by UPenn on things like kinematics, motion, CD, and things like that. You can do them. I haven't done them, so I can't vouch for how useful they are. But I did refer to bits of it when I was trying to learn some concept, and I needed some extra explanation. But if you do have the time, you can, and be aware of certain scholarships that are also available in these things. Because in Coursera and all, I know of my friends who applied for financial aid for the courses, because these MicroMasters that I'm talking about can be quite expensive, and you can also use these financial aid opportunities and attend the courses.
So I believe that most of your learnings came through experience rather than like learning through courses, I believe, right? I mean, based on what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even I kind of, did the same way. Even I have done very little number of courses, very few. Most of it came by trying out things. That's all. Building things. That's all. So yeah, if you were to, start over from scratch and just imagine that this is the first day in college, then how would you go about learning robotics and building the entire thing? If you have the mindset from now on, that's all. Yeah.
If I had to do it all over again, one thing I think is I should have been a little more proactive in the first year of college. Like even in the club, in RMI, there is a lot of things that you can do if you're proactive and you start doing it. You should not wait for somebody to tell you work on this project, or there is an exhibition coming and you need to complete, you have to make it work. You need to be self-motivated. So a little more proactive. And so if I had been a little more proactive, I could have probably done something more. Other than that, yes. So most of my work has been in interns and not on semester things, which I did on my own, self projects. So I wish I had done something more on my own, especially in hardware side, because I feel I lack some experience there, and that is something that would have been useful.
Okay, nice. And when you're talking about this, you mean on some, right? Like during the semester,
Yes.
While studying itself, you could have done more. Yeah, even I feel the same way. As in, first thing, just to put out there is that in the first year I didn't do anything. As in, I had a lot of time. I just didn't know. I had lack of info. It's just the lack of information and motivation.
I agree.
Yeah. And apart from that, even I didn't do any on-sem projects. I just thought that academics is really important and all that. So yeah, most of my work has been, not most, actually all of it is in just internships and projects. That's all. I think we have come to the end of the questions list. Akshaya, thanks a lot for being here with us and sharing your experience. Yeah, we learned a ton from you today, and I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors.
Thank you. All the best to you too.
Thanks. So guys, that's it for today. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below, or you can directly contact Akshaya via LinkedIn or Instagram. Look into the video description for more details. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.